Good morning.
Good morning, Rabbi. Good to
welcome.
see you again.
Yeah, welcome, guys. What's on the topic we have today?
Of course, Terence Bud Crawford versus Errol the Truth Spence. Amazing fight, one of the best, the most important fight in many years now for the undisputed title in welterweight. Great weight class, very important weight class. Terence Bud Crawford took to school Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a very good fighter. He's a tough guy, he's a competitive, he's a come forward type of fighter, and he got a strong will to win, but Bud is on a different level.
Yeah, last night I watched the fight, 4 o'clock in the morning. It was unbelievable. It was a fight that was totally disproportionate on Crawford. He was just totally out of Spence's leagues. I feel very bad for Spence because it seems like they tried to train for it, but I don't think they trained enough because, I don't know, he just looked a bit off. I'm not sure if he wasn't mentally there. I don't know, when you watch the fight, if he wasn't mentally there, but he was definitely, Crawford was way beyond him.
Outclassed him, yes.
Outclassed him.
Okay, so my answer to you is like that. First, it is possible that Spence has to grow out of the 147 class. He needs to go to junior middleweight rather than welterweight. It's something that you can see that makes a lot of sense. So maybe he was a bit weak because of weight. However, it's not about training. He's a very competitive fighter, and he's a very well-conditioned fighter, and he got Derek James on his corner, a very good trainer, used to be a middleweight fighter. But Terence Crawford is just a complete fighter. And he's the pound for pound king, by the way. For me, for many years, he's been the pound for pound
But
king.
Spence has a much harder punch, by the way. We were discussing it yesterday. If he connects, he wasn't connecting. His hands were down. He was, he wasn't, his stance was way off, I don't know. It wasn't watching an undisputed fight. I must admit. It was watching, from my perspective, an amateur versus a professional.
I understand.
That's what it looked
No,
like.
I understand, but believe me, I mean, Errol Spence was always very good, very competitive against other fighters. You're just seeing different levels. You see, it's like Magnus Carlsen as a chess player. He's going against super grandmasters and make them look average. That's what Crawford managed to do to Spence. Now, I'll tell you something. He's just Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter ever. He used to say the punch that you don't see is the most dangerous.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have a great power in your hands in order to knock out someone, knock him down. Like you've seen how many knockdowns? 3, right?
Yeah.
So to take the life out of someone, it's about the punch that you don't see. Crawford is a very good, patient, smart, great timing, great accuracy, 58% accuracy apparently. I haven't checked the stats yet, but I've heard something from the commentary box.
Yeah, listen, he landed very good punches. Nothing really hit him. I think he even got hit maybe once or twice.
You said that he looked fresh.
Yeah. His guard was good. He had his hands up. Feet movement was good. He was like jab back, jab back. The constant, he didn't get stuck too close to Spencer to get knocked, because Spencer was swinging some hooks that if he would have connected, he would have been dead. Crawford, but he knew exactly where the punches were coming. He was very confident. He was like, it was worth waking up 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Crawford. Whether it was worth to work 4 o'clock in the morning to watch, you would want it to be more competitive, right? Maybe, but all I can tell you is that from a I'm not saying from a boxing point of view, if you want a master class on how to box and also the defense was unbelievable.
He's a complete fighter.
Yeah, but he had all the defenses were perfect. You understand?
I understand.
And he was patient. They say the Israeli army, it's all about patience, right?
Of course, yeah.
You have to have the patience. If you go out fighting and being crazy, right, and showing all your cards up front, you're going to lose. And kind of that's what Spence did. Crawford was very patient. He waited for his time. He lost the first round for sure, sizing up. But after that, he patiently, and he could have ended the round in the 5th round. He could have finished it in the 5th. He could have finished in 6th. But he waited. He waited for his right moment. And to be fair, the ref stopped the fight. Yeah.
It was a stoppage, technical stoppage.
But it was a technical
it was a
stoppage.
good stoppage.
But he had to stop, because if he wouldn't have stopped, he was on a rhythm, and watching those 1, 2, 3 hooks, it was. I don't think if he would have gotten up, if the ref would have carried on, you know.
No,
Spence would
it
have
was
been
a
finished.
great call. I think Spence is still a young man, and he got a family. He's 32 years old. It's nothing. He got a family. He got life. He needs to think about. You need to think about it, and a referee need to be responsible. You know, some of the fights ended up with a disaster because the referee was not intervening at the right time. That was a good stoppage, a good call. Anyway, he was absolutely outmatched. He was taking tons of beating. You saw his face. It looks terrible. I've never seen Errol Spence in such state. But, you know, it makes sense. Again, I just want to tell you another thing. You know, you got some really good fighters today, like Alexander Usyk, who is a very good fighter. And there are some fighters who have the claim for the pound for pound supremacy, but for me, Crawford has been the pound for pound king, and he is the pound for pound king. He's undisputed in 2 weight classes, well deserved it. I just felt that he was not active in big fights for some time now, and now he made it clear.
Yeah, I was also, because when I read his stats, he from an experience point, he didn't fight many fights in last year and the year before. You know, like I think he did 1 a year. And Spence did, I think, 2 or 3. So I'm definitely a converted fan.
I'm very happy about
I could watch him over and over again for sure. If he's going to fight like this with such patience, with such confidence, such humility.
He always
to be fair, he was very humble. You know, it was a humble fighter, and I like humble fighters. You know, and I know there's a rematch clause in the
it won't make any difference.
But I think for Spence, I think he shouldn't do a rematch. I think he needs to go back to the drawing board. You know,
But you know, you understand
have a
something.
few more fights and then maybe come back again.
But you see, understand something, Rabbi. Let me tell you. He's talking maybe about under the 54, which is going to be a bit more comfortable, higher weight class and all that. But you have to remember, it's about style. This is how the man fights. He cannot be better than that at this stage of his career. Terence Crawford is just a better fighter.
You don't think he can do a bit of training? He was unprepared. I don't think he trained. I don't think he read how Crawford. You don't think so?
No. I doubt it. Spence lives in the gym. He's there with the Charlo brothers. For what I understand, again, I don't train with them in Texas. I don't know what's going on. I can only tell you from what I know, watching and just following what they're doing. They're training very hard. He's always been in supreme condition. But you cannot, there are just levels to this game, you understand? Someone like Crawford always fought the same way you saw him fighting yesterday, which means patient, multidimensional, a great accuracy, again, the punches that you won't see, and he can take many different roles. You want to brawl with him, he'll do it. You want to box with him, he'll box. He's going to be on the back foot, he's going to counter punch, he's going to do everything he needs. He's an old school fighter.
Yeah, but also what also is a little bit of an advantage, maybe, thinking about it, also is that he's a lefty.
He can fight with ball, he's ambidextrous.
But he's mainly a lefty.
Yeah, he can do right.
Yeah, when you have
yes.
As a righty versus a lefty, you know, you constantly, whenever you train, you always
Spence is a lefty as well.
Spence is a lefty
as well, yeah. You know something?
I didn't even realize that.
I'll tell you an anecdote, interesting anecdote. You know Floyd Mayweather, of course, who was the superstar of his era. Yeah. And Floyd Mayweather, I remember something. I need to go back to it, but he was getting ready to the fight against Robert Guerrero, who was a lefty. So he needed to spar against someone who was a left-handed, and he took Errol Spence, who was still a young guy before he became a world champion, and Errol Spence gave Floyd Mayweather a tough time in the gym. Now, the gym doesn't mean that if you are if someone gets the better of you in a sparring, then he's going to beat you in a boxing match. It's very important that people will understand. You know, someone like Smoking Joe Frazier, you know, he fought Ali. He's the first one to defeat Muhammad Ali, and it was the most difficult fight for Ali. He fought 3 times. It was hell for him. He had this reputation for not being a good winner in sparring. But believe me, put him under the lights when you get the first bell, and he's gonna go smoking. It's different. It's a mentality, it's a mindset, it's a tunnel vision of someone. And Floyd Mayweather had some problems with the Spence. Spence was young, he's still young, very hard man. You know, he goes there and he gives everything, but against someone like Crawford, you know, it's
amazing.
That's it about that fight. And can we just mention another point that Nolito Donaire, who is 41 now, a Filipino fighter, tried to regain the world championship. He's a very good fighter. I like Nonito Donaire. I followed his career, and I haven't watched all the fights in recent times, but I remember that he was on the pound for pound list because Manny Pacquiao is the ambassador of Filipino boxing. He's the Muhammad Ali from General Santos. Great man, great charisma. The only champion ever in history in 8 different weight classes. Incredible. And around the same time of Manny Pacquiao came Nonito Donaire, who is younger than him, a bit younger than him, and he was on the pound for pound list, but then he lost to Guillermo Rigandao, an extremely technical, capable fighter from Cuba, twice a gold medalist in the Olympics. So yes, I like Nonito Donaire. I just want to talk about it a bit. We feel that in the Philippines you got a great tradition of boxing. It's worth mentioning it.
Yeah.
Yes, and we got a guest today.
Yeah.